All right, well, I will think enough time has passed, and I will go ahead and start the stream. So, I am an adorable Sergal. I am the 2D art lead for the Duke Nukem Forever 2001 Community Restoration Project. My job is essentially to coordinate a lot of the art that goes between team members and different departments, and to be able to delegate tasks. Although I do have a little bit of experience with art, specifically concept art. So I am here today to show you guys and girls, whoever's watching. There's a character, his name is Captain Cole, and he's meant to be just a solid brick wall, like he is meant to be sort of the traditional Hollywood, sort of like Hollywood soldier beefsteak, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. He does have a few character parameters that I do have to follow. For example, he does have a prosthetic limb, so a prosthetic arm. I'm not sure which one I want to do or pick, if it's going to be right or left. And I can't comment too much about Captain Cole's significance in the overall sort of story. Not my place. I'm here to draw art. So without further ado, let's get started. So I figured what would be neat is to actually take people through the process of how I go about creating concept art. So the first thing for any concept artist is to research as much as possible. Not only do they have to get sort of the parameters from like the design team or like the story team as to sort of the context which the character will exist in, but also just to essentially pay respect to the character. And this is especially important if you are dealing with sort of more specific characters who are a part of a minority group. So Captain Cole is black, so he's kind of the heavy-duty black soldier guy that you might see. Which one? Oh yeah. So something like that, sort of the traditional meme, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like clasping, just big beefy arms. So that's kind of the vibe that we're going with here. So I've gone out and I've collected various pieces of concept artwork of just various black actors, to kind of go off of as inspiration. I know that there was a particular desire amongst the team to sort of maybe almost have like a more retro sort of look about him, so more like stylized, maybe even like a mustache, and stuff like that. So it should be fun. It should be super duper fun. So I've collected all of this stuff to do reference off of. Of course, I've gone ahead and I've grabbed some anatomy, because no matter how long you've been doing this, it never hurts to just have some anatomy reference nearby. And of course, we have a screenshot of, I guess you could say, Demo Man. He is meant to... I guess this was like an older character concept. So you can see he's got like the prosthetic limb right here. I think it's probably an inside joke that like he was a bomb squad technician and he's missing a limb. So there's kind of a story behind that. Although I think for Captain Cole, he has lost his limb in probably a far more glorious way. So what makes me a good demo man? The sapper? No. I think Captain Cole got into a fight with an Octobrain, I think is probably the background that we're going with, but don't quote me on that. So one thing that I like to do when I start out, after I've gotten like a good look at some of like the reference and everything like that, I have to decide on a silhouette. So a silhouette is going to be like the most important defining characteristic in being able to identify a character right off the bat. So of course Duke is going to have his silhouette, various other characters, they will have their silhouette. So what's really fun to do, let me see if I actually get maybe increase the size of this. Alright, so instead of actually starting out with like line work, I will actually start out doing just a block out silhouette to start to experiment to see exactly what I want to do, what the character is going to look like at a glance. So you can get some, sort of basic shapes in really fast. Just so you're not focusing on, you're not getting lost in the details, you're just focusing on the overall volume, the overall mass, and then you can get something that's you can build off of later. So oftentimes I will kind of oops. Now he looks all stubby. Hold on. And then there are people who are like, oh, you should never erase, when you're in the middle. And I'm just like, nah, I can't do that. So, like, so we can do, this is one of the great things about digital art, is that you can sort of change stuff on the fly. I'm not sure what this is going to look like yet. So you have basic outline. He looks fairly solid. So that's one outline that we can do. Another outline. So how is the Duke Nukem project coming along? We're actually doing pretty good. So, like, of course, the start of any of these projects is going to be like somewhat chaotic. You have a lot of people wanting to help out, so you get like a lot of team members coming in, and a lot of talent, a lot of wonderful talent. But then, you sort of see as time goes on, basically like who basically has the time to invest in this. So it's kind of a difficult call with because like on the one hand, like this is a free project, like we're not paying anybody, and like I don't think we could really get away with paying anybody just given like the nature of sort of how we came about stuff. But yeah, so like you'll have individuals who will come in, they'll look really promising, and then for one reason or another they might drop out or whatever for like personal reasons. And this time we might actually give him a gun. But you know, through the initial chaos, you eventually oh, that's awesome. Yeah, like I unfortunately like missed out on that for like the actual live broadcast, but I did enjoy like listening to it afterwards. Like I was having like a little bit of chaos of my own in my own life. Like I kind of got sick, but I'm mostly over it now. Unfortunately, there's still like lingering effects of, goodness gracious, I'm like tired all of the time and everything like that. But yeah, like long story short, we've got like a really solid team put together right now, and we're really excited about the demo release. So yeah, stay tuned for that. So we have some sort of standard shapes here, you know, like this is kind of like the more thick, like maybe he's wearing like a super thick like bomb vest or something like that. But then one thing also that I've kind of picked up over the years is the idea, and I come from a more like cartoony, sort of theatrically cartoony background, so one of the things that I've picked up is making stuff as extreme as possible in terms of just like character concepts. So one of the things that's really difficult to do with a concept is that if you're really conservative in how you sketch stuff out, like you make it like a really basic pose, that it's extremely difficult to actually modify it to kind of push it. So if you've got like a supervisor and they're like, well, I like this, but you need to expand upon it a little more. If you've got the standard pose and that's like all you've done, and they're asking you to like push something into design a little bit more, holy crap, that's tough. So it really benefits the artist if they do some more extreme poses, like you start to focus on like really strong silhouettes and really strong shapes, kind of like what I'm doing now. So I've gone from like a more realistic silhouette base over to like, okay, now we're getting into sort of like really stylized cartoon territory. And given that this is concept art, like we have that ability to play around right now, you know. So it's like it doesn't have to be sort of on model, it doesn't have to be sort of on style with what's going on in the game. We're just here to play around. So big beefy arms, so something that's really fun, you know. So for example, like if like I saw something like this as an art director, excuse me, if I saw something like, you know, sort of like this sketch on the right as an art director, or this silhouette, I would love that. I would just love like this whole like hulking sort of imposing figure. And it makes sense, you know, for a military guy, but I know that for like the actual game itself, it's going to like look more realistic. A lot of the textures are based more on realism than being stylized. So I would have to instruct that artist, okay, you know, sort of keep that idea, dial it back. And as an artist, I would be able to do that. Whereas something like this, it would be really hard to sort of push this form. Oops. it'd really be hard to like push these forms to be like something a little bit more extreme, because you've already kind of set the baseline for like what to expect in terms of like realism. So we're gonna do like, I'm gonna try and keep track of our time here. We're already about 20 minutes in. Time flies. I will. So let's say that we like this silhouette. You know, we kind of want him to be like a really big tough dude. So we will take that. I'll just create a new layer and drop him on it. Oops. Playing layer tag. Oh wait, did I put it on the... Okay, alright. That's what layer it's on. I've committed the cardinal sin of every artist in drawing on the wrong layer. Yeah, I'm hoping for more energy soon. Like, unfortunately, like this virus is like pretty brutal, so even just like going up the stairs is pretty rough, you know, and it sucks because like I used to be like a lot more active, and now it's like, oh god. Let's see now. So I'll do that. We will clear that. Am I? Not sure how I had this set up. How about we do this? I'm trying to fix stuff on the fly. Okay, so we got this guy. You know, we got like a nice strong silhouette, but like my art director has come back to me and said like, all right, you know, I love that form. We ought to dial it back a bit though to fit something in the game. So now I have to start thinking about, okay, I have to start problem solving. You know, like I like this shape, I like this overall shape. How do I preserve that shape the best I can while sort of hitting my targets for what is in the rest of the project? So I'm thinking, you know, like back to like the first, oops, wow, did I get rid of all those? I think I did. Oops. We'll pretend that never happened. If we go back, bad at this. So this idea, like, of this guy, like on the left here, where he's got like a super thick silhouette, like he's wearing like some really like solid bomb vest, which makes sense if like, so you can zoom out. Like if he's going to be, you know, like dealing with explosives or something like that, you know, it does make sense that he would want like a little bit of protection. So we can use that idea and just say like, okay, so maybe he's got like some like massive flak jacket going on and everything like that, and we can sort of adapt that the best we can. So we'll just move forward in time. Oops. All right, so we'll move forward in time. Move this guy over here. So we like this. We like the silhouette. Now we can develop it. So let me pick another color. Something maybe a little bit lighter, pink. I do like pink. So again, you know, we're still working on silhouettes. So maybe we dial back, you know, on like the size of the head. So maybe we have that jacket. Oops. Hold on. Excuse me, had to take a drink. So we've got like a thick jacket that maybe he's wearing. But he's still kind of like hunched over, you know, so like maybe we start like putting in some like thought into like why exactly his pose is the way it is. So he's got a stance here that just kind of looks ogreish, and maybe just like he's used to carrying around heavy stuff and stooping over, which would make sense, you know, if like he's dealing with more explosive type things. So we can also use the eraser. That's another thing, is that there's erasers are not only good for getting rid of mistakes, they're also good for the actual creation process. So sometimes, you know, you can lay something out and then you can carve out. So that's another technique that I like to do. So I know if like probably shouldn't gotten like a bomb technician sort of stuff. So we have an idea of, you know, like the bomb technician, like a really thick flak jacket. And they have like that really high collar to protect their vital areas from like any shrapnel. Protect them, like just like the arteries around the neck. And we can actually still make him stoop a little bit. Let's increase the size of that. And also maybe he's got like a little bit of decoration up here. Maybe it says like EDF or something like that. Let's save our progress really quick. You know, even though like, and I remember back in the day, like software was super duper unreliable and you could just lose everything in an instant. It's so much more stable, but it never hurts to save regularly. So also like the bomb squad guys will have really thick pants because they still want to go home with their legs intact. And so it's like, and you can see how really nice it is working just with silhouettes. I'm really not preoccupying myself at all with details, and that's really important for me, simply because I know I am an artist who does get lost in the details quite a bit. If given the opportunity, like I will like develop and go over something over and over and over again. So now we have something a little bit more realistically proportioned now. Get big boots. I gotta love boots. Maybe I'll have like packs on or something like that. Sort of tactical fanny packs, I guess you could say. So I know we can make that thicker. So remember, you like push the design as best you can, and then maybe it'll get down to about there, and that's when sort of the boots come in. Then we can just do like really quick. Really super quick. So now we have something like that. So maybe I send it up to like the art lead. They look at it, they're just like, okay, like we need like a few like details. So maybe a few details change. So maybe like they don't like the massive EDF patch, you know, in the front. You know, maybe it's going to be more something like almost like an armband. Maybe they'll have like to just add to sort of the mass right over here. Maybe there's just the hint of sleeves up there, and that's where stuff like flags is and whatnot. And then there's just like maybe like a little patch over here that says coal or something like that. And maybe, you know, like we want to see pecs, you know, so it's like pec armor, you know, going on there or something like that. So like completely sort of nonsensical, but given that, you know, sort of the source material that we're working off of, you know, it makes sense. You know, it makes sense to have something that we're focusing on, you know, like emphasizing masculinity. You know, these are individuals that sort of go above and beyond the regular, the standard human being. You know, like they're in this video game, they're a character in this video game for a reason, and especially if they're going to play like more of a combat role, and they're going to have like an actual named role instead of being sort of generic soldier who's going to die like 5 minutes, you know, like into the level. Like that stuff's important. So maybe I don't like the actual like defined. So maybe it's more mechanical, less organic. So we can start off with something like that. Maybe he's got gloves. Who knows? Gloves are important. But then also I remember, and everybody else remembers, like maybe he's got that prosthetic limb, and if it's going to be like a fancy game, maybe we'll want to play around with the concepts a little bit. So that like there's something that definitely tells the viewer or the player that the limb is artificial, but still having that intimidation factor of, you know, like you don't want to like mess with this guy like in an arm wrestling match, kind of a thing. So, and of course grip strength is going to be important, so and actually all the muscles for gripping are going to be like in the forearm, so we'll just like leave like the forearm thick, that we can kind of hide underneath the sort of sleeve there and just sort of hint that maybe there is sort of like a mass under there, but we want the player's eye to be drawn to this massive sort of like forearm right there to show that like no, he's still very much combat capable, and he could crush skulls if he wanted to. So yeah, we've got a good start here. So let's say that I do pass this up the line. I have made these changes. The error was caught, you know, in the middle of production that like, okay, this dude was supposed to have a prosthetic limb, thank goodness. So we then move on down the line to actually start like putting in details. What's my time at? Let me take a quick drink really quick. Oof. Oh, I don't think I've been paying attention to no mic chat. Yeah. Okay. Oof. Oh my goodness, all I want to do is sleep. It really sucks. Okay. So let's keep going. So, of course, like outside of this, I'm definitely going to iterate on this character quite a bit. That's something that I'm used to, like with clients where it's really rough, like out in, you get into some like of the larger production houses, and they will demand, like 50, 60 drawings of or drafts of something before like they actually like settle on something. And so you can imagine that it's just like, oh my god, how do I do it? But I had an art teacher tell me that draw as much as you can, get it all out, and when you feel like you've run out of ideas completely, that's when you actually start running into some of the ideas that are actually novel, that are actually sort of advance the craft, I guess you could say. So I wish it was easier to get there. Because it really is exhausting, because it's demoralizing. You're like on drawing 15 and you have no idea like how else you can like iterate on like a character. But sometimes it's kind of like the runner's wall, where you just have to push through it and actually start to come up with something novel. So this is like pretty good for just like a first pass. I will, definitely be like putting in the legwork behind the scenes. Hopefully that'll pop up maybe in like the next monthly update. So with that in mind, we will actually move on to another brush so that we can actually start fleshing this guy out. Let me check something really quick. Alright, just making sure, looking everywhere to make sure that people aren't trying to talk to me. So now we have like an overall silhouette, an overall design that we like. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and start actually sketching the stuff in, actually getting in like the line work. So I'm going to work really light here. So like this guy might be a demo man, he might not be. I will definitely have like more of a back and forth with the story team. figure out what exactly is going on with this guy. Also, if anybody has any questions on sort of art in general or the project, like, I'll do my best to answer them within reason. There's obviously, you know, like, I mean, I don't know, like, it's not like too super secret, like, yeah, like anybody can like sort of like look at the dump, although sometimes there are surprises like in store that like we would rather let the player find out. While they're playing the game. But I mean, overall, like, I don't know, I haven't even played Duke Nukem Forever 2011. This time we're doing more of a heroic pose. Maybe we'll move these guys. Oops. Move these guys off to the side. Just a little bit. So maybe he's got some kind of a weapon. We've got his boots down here. Actually, let's shorten that up a bit. So I do want him to have, you know, sort of, it's like, not like super tall basketball player, you know, but like short. Not, I mean, he's going to be tall, but sort of just really stocky. You know, like you can't go through this guy. Quick save. And I'm a very messy artist. Maybe his shirt sleeves are rolled up. Just someone that is really, really huge. Probably have like just making sure everything's still going right. It's been a while since I've done this. absolutely nothing is set in stone. Quick drink. Okay. How much time we got? We got, yeah, unfortunately I'm only here for about like, I only slotted out this stream for about an hour. So we've got approximately 15 minutes left. So let's see what I can do with this. So, because I gotta move on, and actually my slate of stuff is actually pretty big. I'm going to be working on putting together like a trailer, and I've got like a few other characters that I need to do concepts for. So also I gotta spend some time with the spouse. It is Sunday. It's supposed to be, you know, like a day of rest. So here you just want to see like a hint of like this dude, you know, like even without the flak jacket, is just built like a tank. It's really thick tendons. And then he's got like, I think for blast protection, he is going to have sort of like this mass of Kevlar that kind of sits. So not only does he have, you know, like this sort of like massive collar that goes around that protects his neck, but also he's going to have like this ledge. So if he's working on anything, and that's where, like, if he was, like, say, like he had like a helmet or something like that, the helmet would sort of attach right there. But we're not doing that, so we'll ignore that for now. Alright, what else can we get away with here in about 10-ish minutes? So one thing that's sort of like the traditional sort of military staple is doing sort of the segmented, it's almost like padding, you know, to suggest not only mass but sort of like the curvature of stuff. So I have something like that, just kind of going over the shoulders, and maybe we'll even have further sort of shielding, nothing too extreme, but we should be able to sort of make it almost seem like there's like attachments that should go there, like some like maybe sort of arm protection can like bolt on there. So, and then we wanted this more to be instead of like really defined, more like sort of flat polygon shaped, so it just looks like plating that is sitting in that chest area. And so it'll actually be like super stiff, you know, around that, essentially sort of like protecting the rib cage and the vitals, instant vitals. And then we'll have sort of softer protection over here that actually allows the character to bend a little bit. Although honestly, it would still really hurt to take some shrapnel in the stomach. Like in my mind, like why? Like I just let me die. Like getting like getting almost like stabbed in the stomach. You know, that's got to be just like a slow, horrible way to go. So like keeping in mind that like we've got like sort of identification. So the player's not just kind of like guessing. The player can still just look at the character and be like, oh, okay, that's who I'm talking to. So you can see my style is very much bouncing around an image. So one thing I've noticed with like bomb tech stuff is that it's got a bit of a skirt. So we will sort of maybe thicken some of this stuff up here and then emphasize down here. But then also kind of put this belt over the skirt that he can put his little tactical fanny packs on. I'm definitely going to take a nap after this. That's what I hate, is just like, it just feels like so much of my day is cut down now. Excuse me. You know, and it's just, it sucks. I don't recommend, you know, like catching COVID. It's just the worst. Maybe there'll be a hint of just like more stuff, like a larger pack back there. We can even play around with the idea that maybe he's just got this massive sort of like army backpack in the back, but we won't develop that too far, simply because we don't know if that's going to be like a good fit or not. So we need to figure out goodness gracious. We need to figure out like exactly what he is holding, so maybe it's, you know, he seems like a shotgun guy, you know, like shotguns are sort of the mainstays and just like any first person shooter. So it's more of a generic like pump action. Maybe we'll change this just a little bit. Move the stock a little bit. Oops. So maybe he'll actually carry this like oh, hi. Yeah, bad guy's a sweetheart. You know, like they handle a lot of the people stuff. In our development server. You can tell I draw guns often. So before we run out of time, oop. Uh-oh. Ah! Oh, there we go. I don't know what happened there. Alright, we might have lost... So, hold on. Actually, we might have to call the stream right there because it's sort of breaking. I will try and get... Well, no, it's actually showing just fine on... Like over on my end, it's almost just like it's broken. See if I can... Be turning that off. Oh no! So this is why it's important to save. Alright, well that might be it. So let me zoom out here. On my end it's like static, it's like frozen, it's almost like the program is like locked up, but obviously over on your end it looks normal. Oh yeah, I'm happy that I could take you through a little bit of the process of like what I go through in order to create a character. So this is a good start on that. It is by no means, sort of like the final say for this character. Like I said, I'm going to be iterating on this character like much, much more. But as far as sort of like the parameters go, yeah, I did have fun, and it's okay that you're late. Like this will probably be uploaded somewhere here in a bit. But yeah, so like as far as just like the parameters of what you are given, it's a really good start. And for me, it pretty much was, like sort of the big beefy, sort of 90s style Arnold Schwarzenegger, like action movie hero kind of stuff. Prosthetic arm, although we didn't get to like develop that too far. And just like overall, like he is built for being able, like not only is he just like a huge dude, but he's also built to just like withstand, some impacts and stuff like that. So I am going to call it here for now. Thank you, everybody who decided to pop in and take a peek at what was going down. It was a lot of fun. And hopefully maybe next week or the week after, depending on my workload, I might actually do another stream. So I'm going to call it there. Thanks again for everybody who came to watch the stream, and be sure to follow the Duke Nukem Forever Twitter account, which I think it's just, let me double check. Let's see. Shouldn't take this long. Trying to. So it's basically the Twitter account is DNF2001RP. And you can follow that for just like the latest updates. I know we do have a ModDB page that's also on the Twitter profile as well. We also have a community server. So if you're a super big fan of Duke Nukem Forever, and you want to sort of like shoot the shit with people, that's also an similar fans, that's also an option. So that'll be it for now. Thank you all again for coming, and you have a lovely Sunday afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Just try and have the best day that you can.